Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to see how to solve this proportion when it's a little bit more complicated than the last one. The last one we looked at 2 easily went into 8, and 8 was easily found by 2. The problem here is we have a decimal. So this is where our process starts coming in handy, or if you kind of know our rules of math and conversions and things like that, because this idea of ratios and proportions you've already kind of learned in concept. What I mean is we had 1.5 and 6, and we're going to be asking to multiply or divide by it. When you're asked to multiply or divide by it, you can use rules like understanding. If I don't like decimals, I want to get rid of it. I could make this 15, but that means I have to do the same thing here. So there's a hidden decimal here with a 0, and we move it there. So if I make 1.5 into 15, then I can make 6 into 60, and now I can compare them. But I'd have to do the same thing down for this 1, and I have a 1 here in the denominator, right, from all the way over here. But there's this hidden denominator, or hidden decimal, so I'd have to remember there's a 0 over here. It goes to the side, so that means it goes, or it becomes 10. So if I wanted to, I could rewrite this as 15 over 10 is equal to 60 over. Now, here's the fun part. When everything cancels at the end, I can't have just x. Here's the trouble in doing this. What I've actually done is move the decimal once to the right. That's the same thing as multiplying by 10. So in reality, what I did is I've multiplied every number by 10, but that means I need to do that to my x as well. This is why mental math is not always the easiest way to do it, because you have to be able to think of all this. Otherwise, the numbers seem complicated. But once we do this, it makes it a little bit easier to think of. So I actually don't want to do all of this work in my head. That's why I showed you the process yesterday. What I want to do is, and I'm just going to write mental here, and I'll do that in blue. Now I'm going to go ahead and change color so that we can keep it coordinated by color. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, I forget what I called them yesterday, to be honest. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to write the process here in green, and then I'm going to do the calculator over here in red. All right, so the process says I'm going to take 1.5 over 1 equals 6 over x. And what I'm going to need to do is cross multiply. So 1 times 6 is 6. Oop, I covered that 1. Let me try and get that back so it doesn't seem like, or we don't forget where that 1 comes from. So then I take 1.5 times x. Oops, dropped a pin. 1.5 x. Same thing as 1.5 times x. So in reality, these two fractions set equal to each other is the same thing as saying 1.5x or equals 6. And now I just have to solve. And I solve it my normal way. I'm using multiplication, so that means I have 1.5 groups, but I want to figure out how much is in one group. So I divide the groups up so I can look at each group individually. And which means I have, since 1.5 groups equals 6, I have to divide that 6 up by the same 1.5. And when I take 6 divided by 1.5, just on my calculator, divided by 1.5, I get 4. So 4, and these are going to cancel and just leave me with x. So x equals 4. Now, that tells me how many tomatoes are in the new recipe. I can do this on my calculator as well if I just remember that 1.5 over 1 equals 6 over x. Now what I'm looking to do is circle the two numbers that are at the diagonal that are, and again, numbers, not variables. And I find those right here at 1 and 6. So I'm going to take 6 and then I divide by what's left. Now, yesterday, that division was reminded to us because of the fraction symbol. This time it's not here. I just have to remember divides by 1.5, but I'm going this way. A lot of people, what they do is they just do 1.5 divided by 6. That's not what we found. We multiply first, then we divide our answer by what's left. So I'm going to take 1 times 6 is 6, divided by 1.5, and we get the same 4. And that's what x equals. So no matter which method we use, we're going to get 4. We could have done it with the mental math, but there's actually more to do in the mental math than there was just to be able to write it out and solve it. So there are times mental math is great, and there are times where mental math is actually holding us up from being able to get the answer. That's why we learn the processes or shortcuts. And I pointed at them on purpose because remember, this is what's actually going on. So this is the process on the left-hand side here. I'm a little below the screen, sorry. But this one is the process, and this one is the shortcut. If you have any questions, make sure to email those to me. And you guys have a wonderful rest of your night, and stay safe.